Hi, my name is Sua and I am part of the Pacific to Nations team. I have a few years of experience with missions, but this is all still fairly new even for myself. So there are many things that I'm still learning with regards to this field. And from what I have learnt, I pray that it will be able to help you in taking your first step. It was only a few years ago where my wife and we went on our first short-term mission trip, and there was a lot of unknowns. So I pray that from what we've learnt and still learning, that it may be able to help you. I know that you may be excited as a team, thinking about all the different possibilities that you will face as you step out into the unknown. So we pray that this training has been a help to you, and during this session we will look at different ways that you can fit together as a team, looking at team dynamics. Whenever we think of teams, sometimes we tend to think of sports teams. For myself, I have a favorite team that I follow, the LA Lakers, and whenever they are clicking together, they're making sure that they work together as one because they have a goal to win. They have a goal to make sure that they achieve. And that only happens when everyone plays their part, when everyone is working together and ensuring that they are one unit rather than 5 individuals on the court. And when we think of teams such as a short-term mission team, we can think of it in the same way. There are different parts that come together to form your short-term mission team. In 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12, it says, "For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ." When we work together, when we have our different roles and we function within our roles within the team, we can do great things. But when we play as individuals, or when we are people that are doing things on our own, that'll be very, very difficult when it comes time to work together to achieve what you have for your mission. Another picture that I like to think of when thinking of a team is a jigsaw puzzle, and that we are all different pieces of a larger picture. So if we choose not to fit in, the picture is incomplete. So when we decide to work together to fit in with other people, with their different traits, with their different personalities, with their different abilities, then we form a great, great picture, a masterpiece. Yet, when we choose not to fit in, when we choose to do our own thing within the team, then we start to struggle. Then we start to be incomplete. There are different things to take into consideration when we talk about team dynamics. You have differing personalities. You have different spiritual abilities. You have different physical abilities. You have different capabilities of each person. And these are all things that you must take into consideration when thinking of how you can fit together as a team. I remember a few years ago when we had taken 2 different teams. One team, I was actually one of the younger members of the team. And then later on in that year, I was one of the older members. And so the dynamic and the way that we worked together was totally different, because the older members had a lot of experience in ministry and a lot of different thoughts and ideas. I was able to share a lot more responsibility with people, and I was able to entrust things to them because they had experience. Whereas with a younger team, they lacked experience in certain areas. So those were things where they needed a bit more guidance, where they needed a bit more direction as to where we would go. So those are things that you take into consideration as well. Where are people at within your team? And how can you get the best out of everyone working together? But as a team member, we must remember what Paul said in the book of Romans, the 12, verse 1. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Attitude is so important when taking into consideration how you function within a team. That are we willing to sacrifice ourselves for the betterment of the team coming together? Are we willing to put aside our discomfort so that we can come together as a team and function together as one, so that God will be given glory? When we have teams that function well, the whole focus is not so much on the team. The whole focus is on why you're there, to reach people for Christ. But then when we start causing these different things, when we start not working together, when we start not fitting well together, then the whole focus starts being on the team. Yet you've spent all this money, you've spent all this time and energy, and yet you want to make sure that your focus stays where it should be, on serving the Lord, on serving the purpose of your mission. If you're a leader within your team, look for ways to empower your team members to grow. Look for ways where you can challenge them, where you can bring out the best of them. Because I believe that when we are uncomfortable and on mission trips, there's a lot of times where you can be very uncomfortable. I believe this is a great opportunity for people to grow. And sometimes the most impactful thing you can do in 2 to 3 weeks is just to help people be stretched. Help people to realize that they can do more than they think they can do. Another good thing to do as a leader is to look at the different strengths and abilities within the team. Maybe someone is great at preaching. Maybe someone is great with music. Maybe someone is great with administrative abilities. Maybe someone is great at being a timekeeper. These are different areas where people can be inspired. You have a great opportunity when you're on the mission field to use it not only to inspire your team, but also to empower local people that you go to. And when you function well as a team, when you go with a servant attitude, where you're serving one another within the team with the abilities and the capabilities that God has given you, then I believe that you will have a great time away where God will do amazing things, not only on the mission field, but also within your team. You will sometimes realize that actually you're the one that has been more blessed. You're the one that has been most impacted. And that is certainly true when your team functions well. When your team is filled with people who know that it's not about them, that it's about doing the work that God has called you to do as a team. And in doing so, you will be blessed. Within your team dynamic, the main thing not to forget is prayer. Through all things, as a team, make sure that you are praying together, praying throughout, and having people pray for you so that you will have a great impact empowered by God throughout all of this. So every role is important within the team. no matter what it is, if you're taking care of media, if you're taking care of the finances of the team, every single role is so important. Just because you may not be the person who's at the front preaching, or you may not be the one that ends up worship leading, but every single role is so important. Just as it said in 1 Corinthians, that every single part of the body is so important. Not everyone is a mouth. Not everyone is a hand. But all these things that make up the body are just as important as those that are seen. In fact, it says that those that are unseen are sometimes the most integral part of the body. You may not be the one that gets seen on the outside with your role, but it will be so integral for your team to function well by you playing your role, by you doing it with all of your heart to the best of your ability. And your team will be blessed, and the people that you will go to will be blessed as well. I want to leave you with some questions just for you as a team to work through. And if you can gather around in your team and just work through these questions together. First off, what are the different abilities within your team? What are the different strengths within your team that you can share? Now, a lot of us may be a bit shy and, I don't really have any strengths or abilities. But then when you actually voice them out, when you start talking with people, you say, well, yes, this is something that I can bring to the team, and this is something that can actually be a blessing on this mission field. So actually just go through with your team, see what abilities, what kind of experiences each of you have, and you'll be very surprised what comes out. Now, with those abilities, with those experiences that you've just shared, think of the different roles that will be helpful on a mission team. And write them down, and then see how together your experiences, your capabilities can fulfill these different roles or these different requirements that may be needed on the mission field. Since we're a team, we want everyone functioning together. We want everyone working together and playing their part. That it's not just simply one person taking care of everything, but that we want everyone working together so that everything gets taken care of and we don't have someone stressed out all by themselves, but that you're working together as a team for the glory of God.